With Jurassic World Rebirth right around the corner, I figured this would be the best time to actually go through and rate every single Jurassic Park film, starting from the original all the way up to Dominion. This list will not be containing any of the TV shows or novels, as I feel like those are all separate, and I have not seen any TV shows. This would be sticking to the films only, and this will be my opinion. So, of course, if you feel free to disagree, please comment down below. Today is the day. Today's the day we will cover the last film before Jurassic World Rebirth, Jurassic World Dominion. Now, this will not be the last video of the Jurassic Marathon review, but this will be the last film we will talk about in detail. Jurassic World Dominion. So much to say. So many words I cannot put about how I feel about this film because there's a lot to say. There's a lot to take in with this film. And I feel like the best place to start is to start with Fallen Kingdom. If you remember my last video, I said how Fallen Kingdom had one of the best cliffhangers to end on in this entire franchise. Now, if we really look at it, there is a can of worms that the armed forces, the military, can easily shoot and take down all these dinosaurs in a matter of days with real no consequences to the real world. And in fact, all the dinosaurs that were released were in California, while some dinosaurs were sold to other parties, but it wasn't a lot of them that were sold. So, in retrospect, that really wasn't a big deal. Because, I mean, sure, it is a big deal, but it only affects the United States, excuse me, besides the pterosaurs that were already flying all over the world. So, again, like, there, if you really look at it, it's like, it's a deal, but it's not like, oh my goodness, it's the end of the world. It's not going to change the world. It's going to maybe change California, a few other states for a few days, and then, armed forces come in, they take care of the problem, and, we can all go about our day. Jurassic World Dominion was hyped up. Again, like, you're following the film after this. You're following this. So, again, ignoring the realistic issues, you have a cliffhanger of the grand thing of the dinosaurs finally interacting with the modern day world. Sure, we had a little bit of that, but that was in isolation. Now you're talking about an entire state. You're talking about an entire country, continents finally getting to interact with the dinosaurs. How will this affect the general day public? This is how it ended. This was how it was built up. Then you get Dominion. How Dominion was hyped up to be this generational film. How it was going to be the conclusion. How all six films were going to tie into this one. This was it. This was the entire story. This was going to wrap everything up. This was going to be a finale to end all finales for the Jurassic franchise. And it fucking fumbled. It was such a generational fucking fumbled. It is so astronomical how you fucked this up. Again, this is part of why you do not hype shit up if it is not going to be what you say it is. Now, I, as a major Jurassic Park fan, I will take some accountability for hyping myself up for this film. That is a big factor. But when you have the directors of the film saying this was going to be the grand finale, how this was going to be the end, the trailers, everything building this up to be the grand fucking finale. This is not a fucking finale for anything. This doesn't do shit for the entire fucking franchise. This is such an astronomical ass fucking that I don't even get how this film got greenlit. So there is so much to talk about this film that I feel like there's so many different parts I want to talk about because so much of the shit makes me so fucking mad. Like I can get pissed off with this film because again, you have one of the greatest fucking ideas ever. Again, this is something that was built up from the first film. This is some Edley Sadler was talking about why dinosaurs shouldn't be interacting. We don't know how these dinosaurs will interact with people, the modern day world, and we're finally gonna see it. And then we get blue balled. We don't even fucking see it. We get teased. It is teased. And in Battle of Big Rock, they talk about, oh, what happened up north. Like, I love Battle of Big Rock. It's good, but fuck you. I want to see what happened up north. I want to see the carnage the carnivores caused. That is the shit we should have seen. We didn't get that shit. It is sad when old comic books did this idea better. I know there's this one comic book, it is super fucking awful, but I remember watching on Clayton's channel when he did comic book reviews and going over them. Then this kid watched his dad get ripped apart by a Carnotaurus as he was just getting out the core. Like again, that is super dark, super brutal, super messed up, and that is the kind of stuff I wasn't fully expecting that, but I was expecting something. We didn't get anything. Like, I'm gonna easily put this at 3 out of 10. This is worse. Now, from a writing standpoint, isolation, which is a big fucking problem because you cannot isolate this by itself. It does not have as astronomical writing. Okay, it does, but not in the same way as Fallen Kingdom. It doesn't have some of the stupid, oh, I'm going to attack somebody because their troop defended themselves. But dear again, there's so much to talk about. I'm going to talk about how this concludes because this is the big thing. So the big thing with this film is you are bringing back the original Jurassic Park cast. You're bringing back Sam Neill, Alan Grant, Edley Sattler, Ian Malcolm, who's already got back for Colin King. They're all going to be playing a major role in this film along with Claire and Owen. You're pretty much bringing some part of the Jurassic World cast to the Jurassic Park cast to help deal with the longtime villain that was not touched upon since Jurassic Park and Biosyn. Biosyn being the main antagonist of again, one of the most recognizable antagonists of the Jurassic franchise. You were bringing in multiple elements, multiple well known elements to bring one big finale, and you somehow fucked that up to such an astronomical degree. It is honestly an astonishment. This is a generational movie. This is a generational movie of how you don't write a fucking movie. Like, like again, you have such a great premise, but then you don't use it. So let's talk about the premise. So Biosyn, Dotson, we finally get Biosyn back after so many years of no Biosyn. We finally get Dotson back in. So what has he been up to? Now that agents pretty much Miss Ronnie Global, they're gone, so that leaves him. So he begins capturing the dinosaurs, and because of that, I guess he gains public trust. I guess that's maybe part of his plan. So instead of focusing on the dinosaurs, we focus on something else. The main problem of this movie, the reason why everyone goes after Biosyn, is because of the locust. Now, sure, Claire and Owen don't go after Biosyn, but Biosyn captures Maisie and Beta, which then leads to them going after Biosyn. So it's pretty much because of the locust. Everything kind of surrounds the locust. Now, I have said before, Jurassic Park isn't truly about the dinosaurs. Now, I know that's going to make a lot of people upset. Now, let me explain myself. Jurassic Park is more so about how people will abuse powers they have no idea they are understanding. Yes, the dinosaurs are part of the plot because they brought back dinosaurs. They brought back something they had no idea what they were doing. They did not understand what they were doing, and then the major cataclysm of consequences that follow after. The dinosaurs, yes, are part, but it's more so about the genetic power, tampering with stuff you don't know what you're doing, playing God. That is the main function of stuff. Now, sure, Lost World. I mean, a Lost World kind of has it, but not to Jurassic Park, not to Jurassic World. And Fallen Kingdom is just, I mean, Fallen Kingdom. Jurassic Park 3, again, that's the oddball out, but so if we go with that, again, the locusts fit there. Again, the locusts in isolation, they work fine. They kind of work as like, oh, okay, yeah, they're tampering with genetic power. They have no idea what they're doing, and then here's this major consequence that's happening with world food shortage. Okay, sure, that works. But the problem is, though, you built up the dinosaurs interacting with everyday people. Again, you have the great premise. Sure, it has issues, and on the concept has issues, but then you don't go through with it, and it pretty much turns to, oh, our cast get isolated on an island. being Biosyn sanctuary and have to fight their way out. You don't even follow through with it. And what's worse is they actually have some parts of it. They blue ball us, and I'm going to talk about the Mansa. The Mansa scene is fucking awesome. It is a small glimpse of what we actually fucking wanted with this film. Now the Mantis scene, it isn't perfect. Like it's got some issues, but like it just seeing the Allostores and the Ceratostores attack people in the background, and you see the people panic as you see them walking through town. That small glimpse, I'm like, oh my goodness! And the action scenes were really good. It was very good, high-paced action. Yes, is it stupid? It's fucking stupid, but it's still good action. I can't fault the action. The acting was really good in this film. And you have some other great shots, like the Therizinosaurus slowly just like trying to see where Clara was because it's super territorial because it's blind. Stuff like that, like the Rexy and Giga fight, not the final battle, nor the promo battle. I'm talking about like the one where they fight over the dead deer, like stuff like that. That was really good. That felt realistic, made them feel like animals, and like I appreciated that. But so again, but the locust being the main problem just does not follow up with what you built up, and this is this movie summed up. It does not follow through with anything it built up. It is a complete train wreck. It is like they had an idea here. It's like I think the Gaming Beaver best described it. They didn't expect Jurassic World to be a success, so they had no idea how to follow through with it. So when they were laying down the tracks for this film, then you get to this one, and the train completely derails in a completely different direction. Like you had Colin Trevorrow direct this one, J.A. DeBona, and then Colin Trevorrow. So, director who directed these two should have some similarity of idea what he was wanting to go with, but turns out no, he didn't. And there are so many. I'm not going to talk about Doctor Who. His ooh does that piss me off? I think Doctor Who is the best example of this, and I'm going to say that for another video because that is worthy of another video. So going through again, you have like again, it's like I do not know what like again. If we are talking about a story that's supposed to kind of capture all of them, what is the story? You don't tell the story. You have the old cast interacting with the new cast because they go through two different stories, which is fine. I'm glad they kind of merged together towards the end, which makes the most sense. That's how you want to do it. So Owen and Claire go after Biosyn because Biosyn captures Maisie in Beta because Dr. Wu needs them for to help solve the locust problem because that is his biggest mistake. Again, I am so fucking pissed off with that. So that is why they go after Biosyn. Ian Malcolm working in Biosyn is kind of like a lecturer, kind of like supposed to be the voice of reason again, which is fine. I mean, Jeff Goldblum does an amazing job as that. Then he calls in the two people he knows, that being Sam. He calls in Ellie, but Ellie goes to get Grant because she's the one person he can trust. They probably just need to sneak into the Biosyn to see what Biosyn's really up to, especially with the locust plague. Um, and that's pretty much it. So breaking into the characters, I actually do like the Maisie, Claire, and Owen dynamic. I think them just kind of being a country bumpkin family, I think that was sweet. I think that was fine. There was nothing inherently wrong with them being a family. They took in Maisie. So yeah, seeing how they would raise her, I think that is fine. That is perfectly acceptable. Maisie kind of being upset because she's not allowed to go explore anywhere because they know Biosyn is after her, that people would be after her, though no one would know she's a clone. How would that information even get out? No one would even know she's a clone. In fact, everyone would just know her as Benjamin Lockwood's granddaughter because that's what he said. No one would know she's a clone. Only he would have known that. Or Eli Mills, I guess. Eli Mills knew about it too, but whatever. Um, so they don't allow her to get out. This makes her mad. So she wants to learn more about her. biological self or her real self, her previous self, because she's wondering like, why was I cloned? Like, so ooh, we're gonna get into that. So Blue was in Arizona at the end of Fallen Kingdom. Blue also refused to go with Owen. Owen was like, "Hey, Blue, come on, come with us." Because Owen wouldn't take her somewhere safe. Well, Blue refused, and she ran off in the woods at the end of Fallen Kingdom. Cut to Dominion, they have Blue, but they have her in a like mountainous area that is covered in snow when she is a tropical based animal. I'm sorry, why is she in anywhere with snow? Her main environment has been heat. That is probably why she went to Arizona, because it was probably hot enough for her, probably her biological self being a velociraptor who lived in dry desert areas, as scientists we think they did, as far as we understood the prehistoric Mongolia, and how she was raised in Jurassic World living on a coastal island which is extremely hot temperatures. Why the fuck is she even in snow? She shouldn't be in snow. That should probably kill her. But it doesn't, and then somehow Doctor Wu gave her the ability to procreate asexually, which was something like, sure, the frog DNA being able to do that, like they altered their DNA with frog DNA, different, different kinds of genomes. But it's just a big thing in Jurassic World. Oh, this creature has this DNA, so it can do that. Sure, you had it in the books, but it didn't feel as forced as this was. Her just having a little mini me now is super unexplained. And the real question is, why the hell she should do it on Isla Nublar? Like, that was something not at all teased or hinted that she could do, or nor any of them. The big thing is that they can alter sex. Sure, that's realistic. Animals can do that. And sure, there's plenty of animals who can reproduce asexually, but none of the Jurassic franchise creatures have ever been shown to do that. I think the only one on top of my head is the Scorpius Rex. And that's a monster mutant. Which, sure, it's a monster. It was made to be a monster. I can buy that. But an animal made to be an animal, no. I think that would have raised a hell of a lot more problems. So that pretty much doesn't really get explained. The reason why she has a mini me is probably for marketing purposes. The cute little baby dinosaur. I, fuck it, like, I don't actually know why. They try to integrate into plot is because of Doctor Wu created the Locust, he regrets for creating Locust, and somehow Maisie and Beta being clones is like what will lead to shutting down the Locust and like killing off the Locust. Let's go with that, not flamethrowers. I'm pretty sure, like, what, like flamethrowers? I mean, the fire literally works. It kills off most of them. Why didn't we just use flamethrowers? I'm sure the armed forces could have perfectly handled the situation. Like, again, they're bugs. They're not immune to fire. Napalm, hello. I mean, I'm sure you could isolate them somewhere and then napalm them. I mean, then again, the Australian government lost to birds, so I'm not sure how well locusts would have done. But I'm pretty sure it would have done. They would have done a hell of a lot better against bugs versus giant previous living dinosaurs. So that's pretty much it. So the whole locust thing is what leads to I already said like how it leads to Edley Sattler, Edley, and Grant going into Biosyn. So they pretty much sneak into the lower levels in order to, uncover the truth about Biosyn, why Biosyn is doing this. Um, I'm going to be dead ass honest. I do not like. I think it was for political power, like Dotson wanting to have more control over the world. But Dodson doesn't make any damn sense in this movie. I could honestly barely tell you what his actual motive was because I don't think they really established it. Like, why did he want Maisie? Why did he want Beta? Well, he wanted them because Dr. Wu wanted them, but Dr. Wu wanted them to foil Dodson. what the Dotson wanted to do was the locusts. So, well, they were eating all the crop of biosynthesis, so he wants to control the world food. Okay, so is he wanting more political power? It's kind of hinted at was like stuff like that, but that's really kind of just it. They don't even give him a motive. I'm not even sure why the hell he's here, other than oh, it's Dotson. Everyone, it's Dotson. See, nobody cares because he ultimately didn't do shit as a villain. I mean, I think he's by far the worst villain. At least Eli Mills at least killed Benjamin Lockwood. Like, what the hell did he do? What did Dotson do? Nothing. Which is such a waste of a prominent character in the books. Like, this is an actual main antagonist of, like, the novels, and he doesn't do shit. You have other characters. Oh shit, I cannot remember their name. Oh, sorry about it. Ramsey. Ramsey is pretty much a big major plot device as a character because he will towards the end, like all the characters are trying to figure out how to get out of the biosensation where because it is on fire because of the locust. Uh, and he just shows up right out the blue. He is like, oh, he just shows up and just like helps him, and like he even like undoes things like Ian Malcolm does. That's the thing. He literally counters stuff Ian Malcolm. Ian Malcolm, besides getting Grant and Ellie there, doesn't do anything. Like his big moment of trying to help Grant, Ellie, and Maisie get out of the cave with the Dimetrodons, Ramsey pretty much just punches in the code and like undermines Ian Malcolm. I'm sorry, why would you do that? Like again, if he doesn't going to do anything, why include him? You could have had Ramsey because Ramsey was in on it. He was the one who brought like I think he was the one who brought Dr. Malcolm on because he wanted to stop Biosyn. So why even include Ian Malcolm? Why include him if he didn't do anything? Again, this is a lot of the movie is we're going to include these characters because they are fan favorite characters because we're trying to make this one big conclusion and they don't do anything. So much of this movie is characters just don't do anything, and it just bothers me. Like you get like Franklin back, you get Barry back. Barry's part of the Malta core scene, and yeah, it's a cool scene. And it's cool to see Barry again, but again, he's just kind of there because oh well, he was in Jurassic World. Not really like he doesn't really do anything because it's not him who helps him get to Biosyn is a completely different character who I forgot her name too. That is bad. I think it really shows I just do not give a shit about the characters. Her whole purpose is she's a pilot and she pretty much allows them to get into Biosyn and that is her main purpose. Other than oh, she also helps fly them out of Biosyn because she's a pilot. She helps them safely get out of the Biosyn sanctuary. So she's pretty much her whole character is she gets them to plot point A. She gets them out of. She helps get them out of plot point B. That is her main thing. Like again, a lot of this movie is just like complete plot contrivance after complete plot contrivance. There is nothing very. There's like barely anything redeemable. And like I can talk about stuff like the dinosaur fights because they also wanted Rexy because so Rexy being the main icon, one of the main icons, like pretty much the current biggest icon of Jurassic it would be Rexy and Blue, but Rexy they decided to have this whole arc with her, and the arc was for her to go against the Giganotosaurus, a brand new dinosaur that has no. The only established lore it had was kind of a tease in Jurassic World and that was it. It was not prominent at all in any of these films. And so they decided to make a whole prologue scene of ancient, in the dinosaurs, the Cretaceous world, in the Jurassic franchise, which is completely different from ours. Listen, I'm not gonna sit here and completely bitch about scientific accuracy these are just films trying to tell a story. They are literally able to scientifically do things that we are not possibly able to do. So I am going to shut my brain off for scientific accuracy because these films are not trying to do that. Just sure, at the time the dinosaurs designs were accurate, which is kind of like, well, they first designed the dinosaurs to be accurate, but after a while they kind of really showed they didn't care. That's the thing. They didn't care anymore by this point. And so they didn't care. This is a whole different universe. I'm not going to apply the same rules of ours. People are going to get upset about it. Sure, you can, but there's no point in getting upset about it. So, in this prologue that was cut from this film, unless you get the extended edition, which I do have I own it on YouTube, in fact, they show the beginning intro of prehistoric Cretaceous of where Rexy and the Giga fight. This being Rexy's ancestor and is supposed to be when the DNA they get from this T-Rex is kind of what leads to the creation of the different T-Rexes. This is what leads to the Buck, Doe, Rexy, and then like kind of similarly all most of the other T-Rexes, especially on like the East of Sorna, like all the different Rexes there. And so the Giga being in Dominion is supposed to be her versus the Giga being this ancient rivalry, but she's a fucking dinosaur. What? That works for characters, but she's not a really character. Her character is being a damn T Rex. She shouldn't have this rival, and it's so fucking forced. It's like they wanted this big climactic battle for one of the main popular dinosaurs, but yet you picked a dinosaur that had no relationship. Like I think it's stupid, but if you wanted to do it, you know who could have done it? The fucking Spinosaurus, the one killed a fucking T Rex. Hello? Okay, sure, it's still stupid, but the Spinosaurus is known to hunt T Rexes, and Rexy being the main iconic T Rex. Sure, if you wanted them to have a fight, I think that would have been perfect. I mean, it's still stupid, but it's still better than bringing in a brand new dinosaur that has no connection to any of the lore besides being part of the Indominus Rex and a background prop in Jurassic World versus a dinosaur that is known to have killed T Rexes, hunts T Rexes, versus the main popular iconic T Rex. Again, you had the better option, and yet you decided to not go through with it. And in fact, the worst part is they wanted to do that for Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. You know, where the scene where the Carnotaurus is chasing humans, and that was originally supposed to be a Spinosaurus versus Rexy thing. I, I'm so glad they didn't do is that. But then they turn around and didn't do it here when that is something they set up. Like, again, it is just like they do things that had no setup, no prejudice, and then they do even worse massive retcons. Charlotte Lockwood is one of the worst fucking additions to this entire franchise. She makes no fucking sense in any single category. So Charlotte, being Maisie, the original Maisie, decided she wanted to clone herself for what purpose? The film doesn't justify her why she wanted to clone herself. If you wanted to have a kid, I mean, was getting married to somebody like or having a one night stand, a sperm donor, none of that was good enough, so you're going to literally clone yourself, which was something never fucking established. You could never, like, again, they had never established this. This is retroactive continuity, but done in the worst fucking way because it adds nothing. And the worst part is it is 2009 on Isla Sorna. Isla Sorna was shut down and it was closed before Jurassic Park 3. They abandoned Isla Sorna. That is background lore about the Jurassic Park 3 dinosaurs, like the Spinosaurus, was created before the events of Jurassic World. It was created before the events of Jurassic Park 3. They then left that whole site. In fact, there was cut content of showing the Spinosaurus incubator in the abandoned facility. What fucking facility was open in 2009? I would like to know because you know what was open in that point? Jurassic World. They had Jurassic World facility fully operational. If she did this in Jurassic World, I think it's so stupid, but it would have made more sense. This gets even more confusing is because then why the hell did Benjamin Lockwood and Hammond cut ties if it's not even him? Again, the way Maisie was set up in Fallen Kingdom is that Benjamin, because Charlotte died in a car crash, she died of an accident. So because of that, he wanted his daughter back. But they had the cloning technology. he couldn't bear losing his daughter. And I has the feeling I understand. If I could bring back my mom, I would. I would. And that's the pain I understand. That is reasonable. Like, yeah, it again it is so inhumane to clone another human, but at least there's a logical reason of why a grieving father wanting to spend more time with his daughter he lost. That is actually deep. That is a very great nuance. It is a very big gray area because, yeah, it is understandable. That is an understandable pain. But no, his daughter decided to clone herself, and then it turns out she had a rare genetic disease that she didn't cure makes a cure for, but instead of giving it to herself, she gives it to her baby. She gives it to her the baby to cure the baby, but they never established that the disease was too far gone on her or anything like that. And it is just so open. And in that way, Dr. Rude knew about her. Like, oh, she was such an amazing scientist. But I'm not even get to Dr. Wu. No, I'm not getting into Dr. Wu. That is a different video. Again, and it's shit like that that makes no sense. Not only did you have the whole cloning process that made no sense here, then you just double down on it and make it worse. You made it worse. You already had at least you had a decently understandable reason why Benjamin Lockwood would clone Maisie, clone Charlotte, clone his daughter. Here, his daughter decides to clone himself because she wanted a child. I'm sorry. What's wrong with having sex? I mean, I get it. Okay, pregnancy hurts a lot. That is a very great pain. Sure, you probably didn't want to lose time in research and development, but I mean, I'm sorry. I do not see the point in having people be able to clone humans. Technology that goes unused. I'm sorry. If people actively knew about this, why did no one exploit it? No one exploits this. I'm sorry. Cloning humans? There's a lot of people who would happily fucking exploit that. They would exploit that more than the damn dinosaurs, but that goes unnoticed. That goes untouched. Why? Who the fuck knows? And then again, it just goes, oh, this is just, oh, we're going to make this where make Charlotte clone herself, but then this is goes unnoticed, untouched. No one does anything with this, and fucking years, and um, yeah, we're just gonna go with that because why? Why? That makes no sense. You already had a massive retcon with Benjamin Lockwood to begin with. Don't make it worse by then retconning this. You retcon the retcon. How did you do that? How do you retcon a retcon? That shouldn't even be humanly possible. Like again, this is supposed to be the grand finale, but yet you make retcons worse. You do routes that make no sense. You don't follow through with anything. And then the grand ending. The ending. Besides one of the worst dinosaur fights in fucking history. Um, they decided. So the big problem is that the dinosaurs are now living with our day. They're now interacting with the modern world. This is going to cause major catastrophes. Again, this was hinted at in Battle of Big Rock, where something tragic happened up north. There's a bunch of carnivores. People are dying. This was showed at the end of Fallen. This was shown at the beginning of Dominion, and at the end of Fallen Kingdom, we are seeing that the dinosaurs of people are dying. People are being attacked. People, like, again, through accidents, through dinosaurs attacking them. So this ends with everybody singing Kumbaya. We're not dealing with the problem is their dinosaurs are interacting with the modern day world. We need to fix this. This is big trouble. You know how they fix it? They don't. They don't do shit with it. Dinosaurs are still allowed to roam free in completely different parts of the world now. They're now in Africa and like they're all over the world when there was no setup for them to be there at all. Like so they don't answer the problem. They have a problem. And you know what the problem is? Solution? They don't have a solution. They don't do anything. They just the dinosaurs sing kumbaya with every the modern day animals. You get the mosasaur hanging out with whales. I'm sorry, the mosasaur should be much, much, much cruncher on those whales. Those whales should be mincemeat. The Sinoceratops should not be like running along the rhinos. Those are completely two different species, and they would not interact that way. I like no, 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 no. Like again, you have one of the again, you have such a great idea. Like, yes, it's a flawed concept, Yes, the concept is flawed, but it was something that was built up since the beginning, and you don't do anything with it. This is not a finale. This is just a garbage. It's garbage. Because again, what is the finale here? Is you get all the characters together and do what? Say what? You stop Biosyn, but what the fuck was Biosyn doing? They made a whole new problem that has no ties with anything. You know what makes Dotson like again? You don't have anything. Like Dotson makes a whole new problem that has no effect with the dinosaurs at all, which is what was set up. And the characters just stopped Biosyn, but Biosyn had no setup in any of these films besides the first one. And you know what the worst part is? There are so many fixes. And this is going to be an entire separate video that I am going to try to think of ways to rewrite the entire Jurassic World franchise. Because there are so many clear ideas, so many better execution ideas I can think of from the top of my head that would have solved so many issues, that would have made this feel like a grand finale. But this isn't a finale to anything. Again, the characters interact, they all come together, but to what? Again, Ellie and Grant are there to stop Bison because of the Locust. Claire and Owen are there to get Maisie and Beta back. Two some completely separate reasons to be there, and yet they work together to stop Biosyn, but Biosyn ultimately gets undone by itself because the Locusts start freaking out, and then Dawson's like, okay, I gotta destroy the evidence of the Locusts, which then causes this huge forest fire to happen, and it pretty much destroys the Biosyn Sanctuary. He pretty much destroys Biosyn himself. They didn't do anything. Sure, oh, they brought the evidence to court. Sure, but I feel like Dotson dying and the entirety of like the Biosyn facility burning up would have already pretty much put Biosyn in the mud. Like, sure, it's in the final nail of the coffin, and then Dr. Root stops the locust issue. But again, the dinosaur issue, the thing that was built up for, they don't do anything with. There's just, oh, all the dinosaurs now live in Kumbaya. We're all holding hands now. This is what makes me so mad. Is this film was hyped up to be the conclusion, the grand finale, what all these films were kind of coming together for. You're bringing back the old cast with the new cast. You're going to face off against Biosyn, the enemy of Jurassic Park, the enemy of Engine since the beginning, and yet you don't really do anything with it. Like, you create new problems that don't really get resolved. The locusts weren't a problem. The dinosaurs were the problem. How does Bison interact with the dinosaurs? Okay, Bison is building a good public image by safely transporting the dinosaurs out of the mainland into a safe, secure facility. Okay, well, what is Bison doing with the dinosaurs? Because you gotta think, they're gonna try to do something sneaky with them. They don't do anything with the dinosaurs. Instead, they create a whole new thing that is completely disconnected from the dinosaurs. Why does Ellie Sattler and Grant go to stop Biosin? Is it because they're being sneaky with the dinosaurs? No, it's because the locusts. Why does Grant and Ellie Sattler have to go there, considering they have no real access there, but only because of Ian Malcolm? But Ian Malcolm completely gets override by Ramsey, who was really in on it the entire time himself. So why have Ian Malcolm when Ramsey could have just filled in for him? Why bring in Ellie Sattler at all? We have when Claire and Owen have inside contact with like government facility agents such as Barry. Why weren't Barry and others contacted? Like, there's other characters they could have used that completely just invalidate the inclusion of the original cast. And in fact, you don't even have everything. Like, the worst part is there is no Jurassic Park 3 anything. For a grand finale, you have Jurassic World, Jurassic Park, and you have the Lost World, you have the Buck and Doe at the end, they were there. But where was Jurassic Park 3? You create the Atrociraptors, but if this was a film meant to tie up everything, why use the Atrociraptors? They're just boxier Velociraptors. Just use the Jurassic Park 3 Velociraptors. Oh, instead of using the Giga, use the Jurassic Park 3 Spinosaurus. That way you can have that stupid rivalry, but it makes a little bit more sense. Why include new dinosaurs if they ultimately kind of don't do anything or just kind of be replaced by dinosaurs that serve the same purpose? Again, it is just like they had again, Jurassic, as the Gaming Beaver said, and I do agree with his take, they didn't expect Jurassic World to be success. The toys sucked. The overall, like, again, and when you go from here to here, it's not, like, again, there is a train rail because you have the Interactor. I mean, you have Claire and Owen, you have Claire's Grove, making the Dinosaur Protection Group. Okay, that makes sense. But then when the train gets to here, it is completely derailed because she's no longer part of the dinosaur protection group. They live in the middle of the woods because of Maisie. But what does Maisie have to do? Why would the government necessarily care about Maisie, especially if the cloning technology really wasn't used or known? No one talked about the human cloning technology. That wasn't any factor of any of these other films, and so they shouldn't have known about it. And it's just stuff like that that just kind of makes no sense. They take these characters in different directions that make no sense. Like a big thing between Grant and Ellie is, oh, they finally get together. The thing about Jurassic Park 3 I didn't talk about is how Ellie, Saller, and Grant didn't get together at the end, even though they were kind of hinted towards this one. They're not together. She moved on with somebody else. Fine, sure, whatever. But then she's completely divorced, and they pretty much force them to be together. It's like that's Grant's big character arc, is finally admitting his feelings for Ellie, though she should have known by the first film. Like you're just pretty much like, oh, yeah, we're gonna fix what Jurassic Park 3 did, but I don't really sure they should have been together. But at the same time, though, the way the real world works is you think you're gonna be with someone, but life happens. Perhaps they just had different views. Perhaps the trauma was working with dinosaurs and stuff. I don't. I mean, they could have made it somehow work. And it's just like stuff like that. It's just so dumb. It is just a lackluster film. They didn't do any. They made great action sequences, but they made stupid action sequences. Like one of the worst dinosaur fights. Why the hell is Rexy, the Giga, and the Therizinosaurus even fighting each other? The Therizinosaurus being territorial, sure, but I figured if you're gonna like they control it through the Camp Cretaceous like mine chips. Why the hell didn't you mellow it out? If it's a protocol for him to go to the sanctuary, to the middle of the Biosyn sanctuary, why wasn't that kind of like a thing to like mellow them out so they wouldn't be super aggressive and fight? Like you just force them to fight just to fight, and that's not natural. Like, sure, Jurassic World wasn't natural, but the Domus Rex was super hyper aggressive. It was going to attack Rexy anyways. Blue wanting to protect her leader Owen, sure. Again, Blue just wanting to protect Owen, sure. I mean, the Spinosaurus hunts the T Rex. It's super territorial. Okay, sure. This one, you kind of go out, have to look outside lore. It was from Mr. Rex. He was hunting down the Velociraptors, and that's kind of just it. There isn't really like, if you want to say this one, sure. I mean, this one doesn't really fit naturally. And then you only get the two raptors being super aggressive with each other because they one of them fell on one of them and it just pissed them off. Sure, whatever. But at least for most of films, you can at least say it's somewhat natural. Here, you really can't. It is so forced, and that's what this film is. It's kind of just forced. You get plot beats that are forced, character arcs that are forced, character moments that are forced solely because, oh, this is supposed to be the ending. We're wrapping everything up. When you didn't wrap up anything and left more issues than you solved. This is my thoughts on Jurassic World Dominion. This will not be the end of Jurassic Marathon Review. This will not be the last time I talk about Dominion, because as I said, I will be talking about Doctor Wu in greater detail, and I will be doing not a complete rewrite, but kind of like a rewrite idea of between these three films and how you could have better managed it. My name is Kiryu, and thank you for watching my video.